Hey everyone, we're going to talk about Zilliqa. It's been a long time. So hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you are new, please do subscribe with the bell button, leave a like and comment. It's a Saturday and I'm doing a video, so make sure you have smashed that like button. So I want to say thank you for the support over the lives throughout the last few weeks and obviously growth in the channel. If you are not subscribed, make sure you do, because there's quite a lot of people that are not, which is obviously nice that you come back, but I'd like you to remain mine forever, which always helps. So, Zilliqa, it's had a big moon. We'll go over in terms of price, in terms of USD on the beautiful world of coin market cap. You can see big, massive move. A lot of people are getting a little bit anxious with it over the last few weeks. I've not been talking about it because it's been consolidating. It's been pretty boring, but that's good. Good in a bull market, a consolidation, accumulation of wealth, and then woof, rocket, which we're seeing now. 13 cents or 13.5 cents essentially, could go much higher, which is obviously what this title is telling us. I still think it's undervalued. It's going to go even higher. So that's the USD side of it. The BTC side of it, it's majorly undervalued because the dominance chart is still high. 286 roughly, give or take, in terms of Satoshis. It's had a good little growth over the last 24 hours, 21% and 34% in the last, 31%, sorry, in the last couple of days essentially. So what's kind of sparked it? One, technicals, and two, most likely these kind of posts. Investments are starting to come in now from American companies. So this is one. We are expecting another 20 to 25 million worth of purchase in the next week. So that's important. Zilliqa doesn't have many eyeballs in America. It doesn't have any exchanges realistically listing Zilliqa. There's no Coinbase, there's no Gemini, there's no Kraken, you know, gives you a big picture. It's mainly a big force in the Singapore area in Asia. When you think this could rocket to even bigger, greater heights essentially, when America get on board with this, it could be even more interesting, sorry. When we see this as well, this is the other post that I want to allude to, another load of money coming through. So this is, I think this is a Dubai based company. Let me just make sure I get my facts right. EGW Capital, the blockchain investment bank, has bought 10 million worth of Zilliqa on behalf of its Dubai-based high network investor. So yeah, these are very much important milestones for any coin, but a coin like Zilliqa that is just in its growth cycle, just getting its full feet under the desk in terms of all the elements that it's got in terms of its throughput, its sharding ability, staking, ZilSwap, Ethereum bridge is also coming. There's a lot of things happening and there's a lot of interest in Zilliqa, and obviously that industry alone, scalability, high throughput, low fees, scalability, high throughput, low fees. What does Ethereum not give us? Well, other than headaches, nothing like that. So we'll do some price analysis. So we'll look at BTC side later, but we'll look at USD. Obviously this matters more for the world of what Bitcoin does and doesn't give us essentially. Make sure you do follow me on socials. I'm very, very vocal with Zilliqa. You know, if most people know me, I recommended this as a buying option in May. So when it had its first impulse, it pulled back and then we shot. You can probably see by this chart here. This is where I was buying, around 1 to 2 cents, which is pretty savage considering. But in my opinion, honest opinion, you look at the BTC pair and you probably think it hasn't run enough yet. You probably will be thinking that. So if we're going to do some very, very simple chart analysis, if we're looking at all-time highs, right? We're looking at all-time highs to the lows, right? We've got a lot of areas to look at. This has been playing some nice symmetry. So we have obviously got levels such as the 618 level on the weekly to keep an eye on, right? We've also obviously got levels like, you know, you could probably argue down to these levels here, where it's been pretty good. You can see how it's reacted to certain levels, how it's pulled back. But this is only levels of resistance that we're worrying about. We can obviously go much higher. If we're looking at price targets, the extensions from this to the other side, so a big, massive swoop, essentially a rounded bottom, it could go up to 37 cents, which would be pretty nice. It could also go much higher if you look at other extensions as well. 55 cents, potentially 60 cents, even higher. But let's not get carried away with ourselves. We need to break above 14 cents. That is the main level here, which is obviously, if I go into the daily time frame, we look all the way left, we've got a lot of interest in and around this level. So this level is going to be important. So this 14 cents level, probably be the one to break first, right? Moving on though, we've got to look at where other levels are. So if we just do that and we'll keep those on there, happy days. We've got to then look at the bottom to the top potentially. Now this hasn't closed yet, so this is where the important thing lies. But if we go from this level here, this is where it gets interesting. When you look at this as well, we've found a beautiful level of retracement at the 50%, and we've obviously shot 16% is potential target here for one of the extensions. So we have had a degree level of support found, consolidation over a period of these 3-4 weeks, which is pretty boring for most people, but we have found a new high and it's looking very, very strong. Expect it to pull back at some point, but if the momentum's there, more people are buying it, we know what happens when these coins run. They just continue going. We've seen it so many times. It's been ridiculous. So in terms of USD prices, we've kind of mapped out the basics there. We've obviously got key levels to kind of keep an eye on. I don't want to go too far above, obviously, all-time high levels, but you got to think a break of this level, we've got a big run on, a potential big run. Once it breaks above certain levels and certain points, it's going to get very, very interesting. So you've basically got those levels there. I don't want to make it too congested, it'll look a bit scruffy, but we have got a lot of room to grow, and I'm going to back it up now by saying it. The reason why I'm saying it on this chart is because of this. Look at that, it's disgusting. When you think all-time high levels of BTC pair, chalk and cheese, it really is. And what does that mean? That means it is totally different. Look at how low this chart is. It is still on the floor. We're still under 300 Satoshi. So if we do a little look at this, if we're looking at, say, this low to this high here, we hit a perfect level, 786 levels, and we could easily be going up to 500 sats very, very easily, or even 440. But what I want to look at before this, I want to actually look at this all-time high level where it goes all the way up, and we could be retracing part of this move. It could be unbelievable. And as I say, we've hardly even moved. I don't even know if I can see the bottom on this chart yet. Let me just have a little look. There we go. We are at the bottom at some point. So when we start looking at this, we've got levels to look at, and the levels are obvious. The first level is obviously this level here, right? Simple. When we start thinking what's the bottom, well, we'll put a bottom line in there as well. Why not? You know, at the end of the day, makes it a bit easier. That's what we've got. We've not even touched the surface yet in terms of potential full retracement. What would you do? Let's just say theoretical. We did a 400% move up to the 618 levels. That is possible. If this dominance of Bitcoin keeps dropping and these keep going up and up and up, you're going to start seeing things get very, very interesting very, very quickly. So I don't want to get too excited and go, well, actually, it could go up to there. Yes, it could, obviously, but we've got to be careful, and we've got a lot of good confluence here with certain levels. So I'm going to just put those price structures on there. But in terms of levels of current price structure, we've obviously got this level here. This level looks the most important. We've got multiple levels of support hits, and obviously it has been resistance as well in the past. I'll just move that down a tad. There we go. So that is where we are currently. I'll remove some of the noise and we'll zoom in. We've got to retest and break above this level. Obviously, candle closures are always good. And if we do break above this level, basically 300 Satoshis, give or take, if we close above 300 Satoshis or the high 200s, basically 295 and above, things are going to get very, very interesting because of this price data in terms of that. But what is it showing us? We've had an impulse, obviously, looks pretty good. It's pulled back. We've formed a nice higher low. High, we've not formed another low, it's looking quite good. Chances are this candle could go way beyond and then break above this level and then send us. That's where it gets interesting. But if we're looking at short-term levels, we've obviously got to think as well, what about this low? This low here to this impulse from May, June time, what happened? Well, it did a perfect move. It pulled back, it hit a level, it retraced, right? We're looking for the same sort of thing from this point now. What's happening? We pulled back, we've hit a level. I think we're going to break above and we're going to go and see little levels up here. These little levels up here, essentially. When you start putting the maps together in terms of where it could hit, the confluence is all there with daily levels of structure. You can see it, like weekly structure, sorry. If I just put my cursor across there, look at it, it's perfect. Again, look at the 618 level. You know, are the stars aligned for us to hit the Fibonacci's all the way up there? Most likely. So I'm going to leave that level up there. I'm also going to duplicate this level and put it there, because I think that is the next leg to go for. It's not going to happen overnight, obviously, but when we start zooming out and looking at this chart, that is where we've got. You know, obviously we've got levels all the way up here, which I will remove because it will look a bit congested. But when you start thinking, where can we go? We've got Fibonacci levels in confluence with all of these weekly levels. So we could be seeing some nice growth. If it is the case, even up to this top level is 26%. In BTC, by the way, this is a very, very big move. If you've got a couple of Bitcoin in Zilliqa from the past, you know, you're growing a lot of Bitcoin in these periods. Again, it's 80% and even up to 100%. So there could be a 100% move up to 633 Satoshis. But when you zoom out and you look at that, we've hardly even moved. Realistically, we've hardly moved. When you start zooming in and look at this, when you go into the daily time frame and you're looking at this previous levels of history and looking at it and zooming in on it, you can see why we've got these levels of structure, of how they're working so well. And when you zoom in on it, they're still big moves. They are still very, very big moves. So I think that's it. Anyone telling me that Zilliqa's overpriced, it's not going to go any further? Yeah, we'll see. There will be market retracements, there will be pullbacks, but it's looking good, it's looking solid. When you start thinking of how this has kind of moved since November, for a high, lower high, we're on our way now. I think we're on our way. A break above this $300 level, we could get very, very interesting very, very fast. So, if you enjoyed this Saturday video, let me know. Leave a like, leave a comment. And yeah, I think the market is really starting to ramp up now. Obviously, it depends on what Bitcoin does. We need Bitcoin to be nice and stable. It is pulling back a little bit so far, but opportunity will probably lie with us next week. Once there has been a bit of a correction in Bitcoin, we may well see further money and capital flow into the top performing coins, Zilliqa being one of them.